If you feel like the toddler years are throwing you, these 10 tips that you've probably never heard before are exactly what you need. Who knew the toddler years could be so tough? It is a hard learning curve, and there is not a lot of sitting or drinking hot coffee that is happening when you are raising toddlers. Today, we're going to be breaking down my 10 top tips that I wish every single toddler parent knew. These are going to make your life as a parent just so much easier. This is going to bring you some more joy in these toddler years. If we haven't met before, my name is Holly. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist and toddler expert. I run a membership called Playful Pod, which is all about raising toddlers and supporting their development in this critical window of the early years. I'll leave a link below that you can come join us for the waitlist when we open the membership community. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the first tip is the Tupperware cupboard is your friend. I know you're cooking, your toddler is sitting on the floor and they are taking out all of the Tupperwares, and it can feel a little bit like, are you trying to make my house messy? Like, it can feel a little bit frustrating, but that Tupperware cupboard is your friend. What they are doing is essentially the same as, doing stacking cups. They are putting things into the same things. They are measuring sizes. It is your friend. Don't think that they are just trying to drive you crazy or make a mess. Actually, this kind of exploration and this kind of learning, especially if it allows you to actually make the dinner, is a really, really good thing for the toddler years. So keep that Tupperware cupboard available, put some great sized Tupperwares in there, and make sure that this is your friend in the toddler years. Now, if you really related to that experience of trying to cook and your child hanging kind of on your leg, welcome to this phase of life. The cooking time can be really challenging with toddlers. It often is that 5 o'clock experience where you are trying to just get the food made and they are hanging on your leg and you don't quite know what to do. And this is where practical life activities really come into play. This is a concept that is from Montessori, and it is something so tangible and usable in these little years. Basically, the idea is we want to get our children involved when we are cooking, when we are doing the laundry, where we are packing away the folded clothes. We want to get them involved in what we're doing. It makes them feel great. The toddler years are actually the time where psychologists say they are actually gearing themselves towards independence. This is like the purpose of the years. This is what their little will is pushing towards. So the more independence that we can give them, the better. Whether this is tearing the lettuce, whether this is giving them a little bowl with some water and some mushrooms to kind of not necessarily actually get them clean, but to feel like they're part of that process. Number 3 also comes into play when we are in the kitchen or around food, especially. And this is giving our toddlers choices. You've probably heard this before, but really it helps. Really, really, really it helps. Whether it is the red plate or the blue plate, whether it is a little bit of water or a lot of water, each time that you can open up, that they will also give you an instruction, because we are helping them so much and they feel like they are being helped so much, and they are so wanting to have some power and some place where they get to decide. So giving them choices in everyday things, and again, you always want to make these choices things that you're actually going to be able to follow up on, and things that are very structured. So it's not saying to your kid, what do you want to do today? But it is saying, which bowl do you want? Do you want a lot or do you want a little? Do you want this side or that side when you're holding them? Giving them these small choices really gives them that feeling of being empowered. And now I know what you're thinking, but you gave them a choice and they made the choice and then they regretted the choice. And this is where our point 4 comes up. That is that they are not giving you a hard time, they are having a hard time. We all know this experience. You ask them, how would you like your banana? And they say, I would like my banana cut. You cut the banana and it's like World War III, everybody's on the floor, there's lots of crying, there's gnashing of teeth. It's all happening. And this is because our children are still really learning how to experience the world. Their sensory processing systems, their brain and body connection are very, very much in that developmental stage. They get overstimulated really easily. This small thing of decision regret on how to cut the banana can feel overwhelming inside of their little bodies. You didn't do anything wrong. You did exactly what they asked you to do. And by the way, bananas are like one of those key points, that they're a key point of tension when it comes to the toddler years. But I want you just to know that when they are doing this, when they are showing these really big emotions on such small things, it's not necessarily that they're trying to make you upset or that they're trying to frustrate you or ruin the day or anything like that. It is that they're having a hard time. This helps us as parents come towards them in a more empathetic way. It also helps us to refocus our lens that this is not an issue necessarily of discipline or behavior. This is an issue of development. This is something that they're going to be experiencing very differently in a few years. This is part of the toddler experience. Number 5 is take all of the videos. Take all of the videos. I know you're taking photos already, but take the videos too, because in a year or two, you're going to look back and hear how they said something so sweetly, or the way that they walked in that kind of waddly way. All of these small nuances of the little years, they are tough on us, the little years, but they're also going to be some of our favorite memories. So take all of the videos when you can. Number 6, if you are struggling at nap time, like to get down for naps or bedtime or anything like that, this tip is going to be really helpful for you. This completely changed our structure of the day when I had my 2 under 2, and that is to move more and get outdoors when you can. Our children need movement. Actually, even in the toddler years, it's recommended that they are moving for 3 hours a day. And you might feel like your toddler never sits down, but actually we want to get movement that is in a variety of places. We want them to be walking on dirt roads. We want them to be climbing up and climbing down. We want them to be running. We want them to be trying to jump. We want to get all of that movement in. This not only supports their gross motor development, which is really important, but it actually helps build up the foundational skills and strength of their muscles. So if we aren't moving enough, our children, it's not just that they aren't the sporty child, or that they won't be the best at soccer or something like that, but it's actually not giving them that ability for those muscles to first develop, for that balance and coordination to first develop. So getting enough movement is so critical for their development, but it also really helps with the rest of your flow of your day. You've probably experienced this as well. If you get outside, if you have a good walk, you breathe some fresh air, you do some good movement, you sleep better at night, you feel more alert, and then also when you're tired, you feel more like a good sleepy tired, and that's what we want for our children basically. So getting enough movement, getting outside every day if we can, depending on the weather, is so beneficial for our toddlers. Number 7, while you are growing as a parent and kind of finding your feet and learning who you are, I just want you to remember one thing. This is really a big tip in the toddler years, that it's not a war. I know we find things and we want to do this for our children. It feels like the path that we want to go down, and it feels like something that is super important to us, and it can feel a little bit sometimes, and I'm saying this from experience, not in a judgy way, but because I've been there, that it can feel like it's you against the world. Like you want baby-led weaning, so everything else must be wrong, and it's frustrating when somebody doesn't say that's the most amazing idea, let's jump on board and help you and support you in that. It can feel like it's you against the world. It also, when it comes to behavioral stuff, when your child is having a tantrum and somebody says oh, it looks like he's eating too much sugar, or some comment or whatever it is, it can feel really isolating. I want to encourage you to step out of that feeling a little bit. At the end of the day, this is about you raising your child. It's not a war, and probably even if it feels like people are watching you a lot, even if they have some comments, that kind of passes over them, so let it pass over you as well. It's not something that you need to hold, and it's not necessarily something that needs to have a huge influence in the way that you're raising your toddler. You're doing good. Number 8, less is more when it comes to toys. I bet you have a ton of baby toys somewhere, and they're probably still out, and whether you've had a birthday recently or a festive season, the toys seem to be piling up. There's a moment in the toddler years where you go from just a few baby things to explosion of toys in your house. When it comes to play, actually less is more. We want our children to kind of if when you go to a shop that it has a sale rack, it's a bit overwhelming, right? You're pacing through the clothes and everything is all jumbled up, and it feels really overwhelming to choose something that is nice. But if you go across the way to another store that isn't on sale and has this perfume scent in the air, there's beautiful clothes lined up, and there's only 3 of each type of dress ever made, and the fabrics are soft and inviting. The way that you approach the shopping experience is so different, and it's the same for our kids with toys. Actually, research has really shown that children play in a longer and more engaged and exploratory way when there are less toys out. So look at your toy room and try and take out some of the toys and just put out a few, so that your child is being invited more into the play experience. Independent play is so critical for children, and I'll link above a video that I did all about independent play, so go and check that out. Number 9, leave early. I wish someone had told me this earlier. I wish that I'd known this in the first kind of season of toddler parenting. We often think of the baby years as the years that you're like more indoors, more at home, not able to get out and about as much as you would like or as much as you did previously. But actually the toddler years are often the time that you are actually more kind of housebound, because doing those transitions of getting out of the house, being at other places, being in social environments is often the time where our toddlers like show off all the new behaviors that they're testing, the hitting, the pushing, the shouting, all of the things. And it can feel really overwhelming. And again, like this experience of, well, we can never go out. Leave early instead. Go out, but leave early. There's a point, and you'll learn this as a parent, as you're kind of figuring out your child. There's a point where you'll see maybe they're rubbing their eyes or something, but you're getting clues that they are feeling overstimulated, or that maybe this has been too much for them. And that is the point where we say, okay, instead of pushing this, instead of having this big expectation that they're just going to fit in or learn or manage, let's actually just leave early. We still get the social time, we still get out, but we're going to leave at a time that is appropriate for our family. So number 9, leave early. Number 10 fits so nicely into this, because it is part of this thing of discipline, of learning and raising children. Often we look at their behavior and we say hitting, biting, I mean, honestly, all of the things, right? Like no glass houses here, all of the things. My kids have done all of the things that you can think of, and most children do as well. So when we see these kind of behaviors in our children, we think that it's a projection on us as parents, that we haven't disciplined them enough. But in the toddler years especially, of course, this is not to say let your child bite or hit or anything like that, but in the toddler years, this is much more about their development than it is about their discipline. Now, if hitting is something you are struggling with, there's a video that is on your screen now all about hitting and really looking at a bottom-up approach to support hitting in these toddler years, and I will see you over there.